Hello, it's Amy from Soft Wind Crafting, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I'm here to share with you today my Tractor and Company Merry Christmas Easel card. So this is just a card that just kind of bends on the front flap, and you can put it down to display with a kind of stand up your cutouts, your figurines, however you're decorating the front of your card. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're using. I am using, of course, the Tractor and Company stamps and dies. This is a bundle that you can get. It is an online exclusive available at the Stampin' Up! Website. Okay, and so you have these pretty little stamps that can have for different seasons to use to fill in your tractor. And it comes also with a wagon that the tractor is pulling. And also the dies that cut out all the elements of the tractor, plus the corn stalks, some trees, the trees coming out, the pumpkins that could go into the wagon that you're carrying along with the wheels. And we'll be using some of these dies today. We're also using the Elegant Pine Snowflakes Designer Series paper. And so this is Designer Series paper, is available as an online exclusive. And what I love about it is kind of like the snowflake design, but using pine tree leaves. And it's so pretty. The colors are absolutely gorgeous, and kind of like the main color in the background is Secret Sea, one of our new in colors for this year. Really love this paper. And the backs are very pretty as well. I love this one as well. And so the backs are super pretty as well. The falling kind of like leaves. More snowflakes. Love, this is the paper that I had used in my original card. And then this is the card as well. So just really, really pretty paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with making the card. All right, so what you want to do is start with a piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5. And basically taking a piece of cardstock and cutting it in half. And what we're going to do is we're going to start scoring it. So I'm taking out my trimmer, and I need to make sure that I'm only using my scoring blade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, normally we would score the card in half at 4 1/2. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score it at 2 1/8, because that's half of the front of the card. So we're going to come up here to 2 1/8, move it down, we're going to score it, and then we're going to go over here to the 4 1/2, and we're going to score it again. And this creates the front of our card. Okay. And then so you can take a bone folder and go ahead and give your card a crease, kind of make sure that it is lined up, because sometimes I'm a little off with my trimmer. Okay. And then we're going to take where it's scored in the middle. We're also going to fold that in because we want it to be able to stand up when we open up the card. So we're going to score it in. Okay, and so there you have the beginnings of your easel card. Okay, so give me a second. We're going to pull out our Designer Series paper that we're going to use for this card, for the card front. And that is, I liked the snowflake design for the bottom of the card, and then I liked this really pretty pine, dark pine leaves for the top part of the card. So this piece is 2 by 5 and I think 3/8. Let's double check. Yes, 5 3/8. And that's just going to give a very small border around the front of the card. So let me grab my glue. I like to use the Tombow glue. You need to make sure when you're using the Tombow glue is that you are being very kind of light-handed. It doesn't take a lot in order to glue down. Okay, it is very strong glue. Okay, so you want to put this and put it to where you have a even spacing as best you can. You have a little bit of wiggle room because it's wet glue before it sticks down. The reason I don't particularly like to use the I don't remember what it's called, the snail. I don't really like to, I'm not very good at it for one thing, and now I live in an area where it's super humid, and my cards would kind of sometimes fall apart with that. So I like using the glue. It actually helps it attach better, especially down here where I live, where it's extremely humid most of the time. So here we go with our, just putting a little bit of glue on the back. You don't want to get too close to the edges, because then when you lay it down, it just kind of squishes out. It kind of causes a mess. All right, so there we go. Just going to lay that there. All right, and there we have the top of our easel with the base. All right, so now we're going to create our tractor. All right, so I'm going to bring in some white cardstock, which is right here. And let me get out my stamps. I'm going to use the tractor stamp. Grab that. I'm also going to stamp the wheels, so I'm going to go ahead and get those out. Stick this aside. Did forget to get my block, so let me grab a couple of blocks right now. Sorry about that. All right, so what I did is I went ahead and stamped the tractor in cherry cobbler. I don't know, I just kind of like, I really like deep red tractors. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to ink that up pretty well. Just taking a look at that. Okay, and then I'm going to just come over here and I'm going to give it a good press. And one thing I forgot to do is grab a mat to do underwork, because the photopolymer, sometimes they stamp better if you see, like that. They stamp better if you have something underneath it. So let me grab my silicone mat, because it makes it a little easier to stamp. So let me get that going again. Remember, tap, tap, tap. Don't press your thing into the ink pad, as it will then create kind of like these halos. So let me try that again, see if I can get a better impression. So remember, you press in, you want to hold it, you want the ink to transfer through. Okay, try to give even pressure, don't rock it. And there you go. And I don't know what is going on with my thing. I feel like there's like some impressions or something in my, there's some sort of little cuts in my stamp. I don't know, that's kind of strange, because when I did it, I didn't get that kind of, I'm going to try it one more time. See if I can get see if I'm looking at it, I can see kind of like in the middle where it's like not picking up ink very well. I look over on this side and it seems to be okay. Okay, one more time. Let's see what we can do. Here we go. Stamping, 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 stamping. Pick it up. Much better. All right, so I'm going to close my ink pad, because I do tend to stick my fingers in it as I'm stamping. And I decided to use, I don't know why, I love Secret C. It's one of our new in colors. I do like it so much. I think to me it's like the new black. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp again my wheels. And I think I got, of course, ink somehow all over my fingers, even though I wasn't trying. So let's make sure that's not there. Okay. All right, this is Secret C. I gotta make sure. Okay, so stamp, stamp, stamp. Okay, and so we need a big wheel for the back of the tractor. And then we need a small wheel for the back of the for the front of the tractor. So grab that. And the rest of the tractor, the pieces we're going to use as die cuts to create it. So stamp, stamp, stamp. Okay. and holding it, letting the ink transfer, and there you go. So there we have some our pieces. So I'm going to put away the Secret C for the moment just to get it out of the way. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to die cut them out, okay? But we're also going to die cut using the steering wheel and I guess the little smoke column, exhaust column. We're also going to cut out the seat as well. We're going to cut out the hubcaps with the small hubcap and a large hubcap in white. And I did this ahead of time in order to kind of save time so you wouldn't have to listen to me die cutting and taking up some time with that because it would take a while. So let me get out those pieces. I also pre-cut my Christmas tree. So let me pull all that out for you. I'll get all my little pieces. Okay. And one more. Okay, so here is the tractor that I pre-cut. Here's my hubcaps. This is something else. Something else. Okay, so here is the wheel I pre-cut. Okay, I cut out Christmas trees in 2 different colors. I had used old olive in the beginning, but I kind of like, well, I liked it, but I was like, I think I could do better. Oh, and I cut out 2 fender pieces in cherry cobbler for the tree or for the truck. And so I was like, well, shaded spruce or pretty peacock, which my base is, and I forgot to mention that my base is pretty peacock. And I thought, you know what? I really liked the way the pretty peacock blended in on the back of my snowflake design. So I went ahead and did that. And of course, here's the seat to my tractor. So now we're just going to kind of glue it all together. So I would suggest if you're doing these tiny pieces to use the backing. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the sticky backing that you put on to help glue these tiny intricate pieces down. I didn't do that, so we're going to use glue, but we're going to try to keep it as a very light touch in order to get it onto the tractor. So we're going to start up here with our top pieces. So here, and I'm using my silicone mat so I don't get glue all over my surface of my table. Ah, my glue is not wanting to come. Ah, a big old piece came out. So good thing I have my silicone mat because then I could just kind of get it off like that. Okay. All right. So just gonna take some of it off still with my finger and kind of spread it around. Not ideal, but it's what I can do right now. So let me now try to go very fine on my glue over here. I'm actually pretty messy crafter. I had been using my glue earlier today and should not have been stuck like that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to line it up with the front of my tractor. I'm sorry if my head's getting in the way of the picture, but that just kind of creates the grill for the tractor and the exhaust that's on top. Okay, so the next piece I'm going to add now is the seat here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the very bottom of the seat. Lift up this piece if I can, and then I'm just going to kind of lay it underneath. So there we have the seat of our tractor. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and glue my fenders to my tractor, sorry. I know I'm not very professional at doing this, sorry. Just do my best. But I just love making cards so much, and I enjoy sharing my experiences. I only share experiences with my students at school about, and they're not really experiences, though my students probably think I'm as old as the history I talk about for the American Revolution and so forth. Okay, so there we go. We got the fenders now. Got the fenders on. So now we're going to put the hubcaps on the wheel. So I'm going to get the big hubcap and put a little bit, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue. And I hope you'll bear with me with these videos. I hope I will get better at doing them and sharing as we go along. And with the smaller hubcap, I'm going to use my take your pick tool just because the hubcap itself is very little. So I'm going to go ahead and hold that on. Probably should have done that with the steering column, etc. But hindsight is 20/20. Okay, so now we're going to put this one on the small wheel. Okay, so now I'm ready to attach my wheels to my tractor. And that is why the silicone map is so good. Look at how sticky that was. So here we go. I'm going to do one wheel at a time. I did something else where I tried to do both at the same time, and it just didn't quite work out for me. So let me add a little bit of glue back here to attach the wheel. Okay, so there we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the smaller wheel in the front of the tractor. Okay. And there we go. And there we have our cute little tractor. I love this tractor. I live in a big farming community. The Rio Grande Valley is very much a farming area, and so the tractors are something that we see on the road blocking traffic all the time as they amble their way down. All right, so in the die set, it does come with the piece to cut out Christmas trees that you could put in the wagon, but it also came with a die cut for Christmas trees. And like I said, here I die cut out about 5 of these Christmas trees to put on our card front. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and take our card front, and I am going to use dimensionals. Oh, before we do that, we need to put in, I put in a ground, and what I thought is, well, this kind of looks, for some reason I said ground and I thought pecan pie. But then as I was looking at this card and thinking of like snowy background with these like snowflakes in the background, we should have snow. So I'm going to grab a piece, and it measures, this one measures also 2 by 5 3/8. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear it in order to create the bottom part of the land. And I know I covered up, a lot of it covered up, and so you can't really see the tear for the interest, but I'm going to do about half of it, and I'm just going to kind of tear it along, and I want to make it a little bit uneven so it looks kind of hilly. Okay, here we go. I really like the way teared paper looks, and we're just going to put some glue on this and then glue this to the front of our card. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And I'm just lining it up with the designer series paper. It's already there. I'm sorry, my dog is snoring. I'm hoping that's not getting picked up in the background. But she likes to lay in my room with me while I'm crafting. Oh, that looks so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to use dimensionals, but I'm going to start off by taking a couple of my trees, and I'm going to kind of glue them to the background. And what you want to make sure is that anything that extends above the fold in the card, that you don't put glue on, because when you lay it down, then you won't be able to fold it because it'll be glued to the other side of the card front. So just kind of keep your glue to like the bottom half. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Just a little bit. Try keeping it light because it's going to seep through. Okay. And we're just going to kind of like, and then I'm going to glue another one on this side as well. Again, keeping it a little light, but you can go a little, I like to come down a little bit because just kind of keep that interest, not to have everything also even. So maybe I did it a little too light. All right, so then I'm going to take my other two tree. Oh, you know what? I ended up putting on the shaded spruce instead of my pretty peacock. Let's start again. I hope y'all don't mind. I share my mistakes. Otherwise, I would never get through one of these at all. Because I do make a lot of mistakes. All right, so here's the other tree. A little bit of glue, like coming down a little bit. And so even though this one was further down, I still kept it with glue at the bottom because I'm still going to have a little bit sticking up. Let me go to the other side. We're going to start with a couple of trees in the background, and I'm going to use a dimensionals for the third tree. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to come over here, put this one in the background. I create. There we go. So they're sticking up a little bit. One is sticking up way more. But this is where I'm going to have my Christmas greeting. So I want to make sure I have room to put it in there. And then I'm going to take my third one. I'm going to grab my dimensionals. And we're going to just add a couple to the back of this. And here, stick my finger in my glue. Let me move this out of the way a little bit so that I don't do that again. All right. Yep, I'm sometimes they take off my backings of my dimensionals. And yes, I could use your take your pick tool, but just a couple. So let me grab that right there. And then we're going to use dimensionals to put up the tractor. And so I only have some minis right now with me, so I'm just gonna put some in place. Try to put them all over the. Oh, and let me do one up there. Okay. Let me grab my take your pick tool. We're just going to kind of take off the backings of these dimensionals. Most of the time they'll stick, and then I can get them to a garbage can without them being all over the place, because dimensional backings go everywhere. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my tractor and just kind of like place it on the snow. And you can tell, oh no. I'm sorry about that. I was scooching and I scooched my grill. Okay. And there is the front of the card. So when you're making the inside of the card, you do want to make something to hold up your card front so it has that easel effect. So what I did is I took some Secret C, the same, and this is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cardstock, and my white cardstock, I have it as just 1/8 smaller. So it is 5 1/4 by 4, which is your regular size. What I usually put is the inside of my card. So then I am going to take, I have a piece of my matching DSP from the card front from right here. And this is 1/2 inch by 4. And so I'm going to use it to put it right here on the card front. And so let me go ahead and glue this down, put some glue on it, trying to keep it light so it doesn't seep out. Okay, and again, let me go onto my silicone mat so I don't get glue everywhere. So I'm coming up about 1/8 of an inch on my card. So I think I see, I'm one of these people that I think things are straight, but they're always end up a little cockeyed. Okay, so there you go. So now I'm going to glue this to my Secret C. And I usually don't double mat inside the card, but I just thought the Secret C would kind of tie it to the cardstock or the DSP on the front of the card. I thought that would just help it out. So let's put this to the inside of our card. So we can come in. You want to try to keep it even, center it as best you can. Looks good. And so then just kind of glue it down. So now we need to make this the stop for our greeting for the sentiment inside. And I'm just using a old paper pumpkin kit to do my stamping. So let me grab my little pieces for my stop. So there's a piece of Secret C as a background. It is 2 inches by 1/2 inch. And then I have the smaller piece for the greeting, and it is about 5/8 by 1 7/8. And this is where I'm going to stamp my greeting, and I'm going to mess it up because that's just what I do. I never can do anything perfectly the first time. Let me grab a stamp. Let me grab that. And I'm going to do this in Secret C. I really like Secret C. Secret C to me is the new black. And so we're going to go ahead and put that up. So it is blue. There's a blue, very, very dark blue to it, but I really, really like it. Okay, so let's see if I can center that into, I'm sorry, my head's getting in the way. I'm trying to see. So there we go. We're going to stamp it in, holding it so the ink transfers. And there you go. Oh, it turned out. Yay. And so let me glue it to the back of to the Secret C. And what we're going to do is, instead of gluing it on to the card, the inside of the card, we're going to use dimensionals, and this is going to help catch the front card so that it is, and what we're going to do is we're trying to make sure that our border is evenly around, kind of wiggle it a little bit. There you go. I'm going to put some dimensionals, and oh, the back came off with it. Happens sometimes. Okay, so there we go. Grab another one. And I am not being chintzy with them on the back of this because I really want to make sure it stays. So that one's already off, so I don't know why I'm even doing that, but there we go. And that one didn't want to pick up. Oh, that one flung across the room. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over. So I'm going to try to see, I want to center it, and I'm going to line it up with my little DSP that I put inside. And look what I almost did. I almost put my hand inside my Secret C because I didn't close it. All right, so let's go ahead. It's about center. There you go. It's a little raised, so now it's going to catch my card front and keep it open as people are looking at all the Christmas cards that are being etched on your mantle. Okay. All right. So now I just need to make my Christmas greeting that I'm going to put on my card front. Again, I'm using Secret C, and I'm using an old paper pumpkin kit from my Merry Christmas. And don't ask me which paper pumpkin, because at the time when I had all these, I wasn't really paying attention to how I was organizing them. Oops, that thing is not going to be big enough. Let me grab a bigger block. All right, so yeah, I didn't organize them by putting when they came out. Didn't occur to me at the time that that would be something I would want to do later on. So here we go. Just want to make sure. Just letting the ink transfer. And there we go. So this piece that I put my greeting on, I did it at 2 3/4, couldn't think, and 1 inch, 2 3/4 by 1 inch. And what I did is, instead of framing in Secret C, another piece of cardstock, I just took my, and you got to be very careful because you're going to get inky fingers, I just kind of dipped it into my ink pad, just to kind of create this little bit of a frame. And there we go. And so then it has this little edge of Secret C to kind of help it stand out a little bit, instead of just being just white. All right, so here I'm not using dimensionals. I'm going to do glue, but I do want to make sure that I just put the glue on the very bottom of my greeting here. All right, so here we go. I don't want another one of those big globs coming out. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of slide it behind my trees and my truck. I'm going to try to keep it even. And then kind of press it down. And there you go. You have your easel card with your tractor. If you're like a lot of country folk that just love tractors, then this would be the perfect card for them. Anyway, well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video despite my multiple of errors. It was like a little comedy of errors. But if you did, I would appreciate if you would like my video, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you could share it, so maybe I could get some people to join me in with my crafting. And thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.